These next few slides look at 5 tasks that are going to help you perform well during the interview itself. You need to relax and be present, relate to everyone you meet, listen carefully to all the questions asked, target your approach to answering, and organize both your answers and your questions. Let's go more deeply into task 1, which is to put yourself into a relaxed and present state of mind. Arriving on time or early is going to help you remain calm, not stressed. During your trip to and your wait in the reception area, practice some of that deep breathing. Keep your mind focused on the immediate present. And if your mind wants to move forward to the interview, try to replace any worries with visions of success and confidence. Moving to task 2, you want to relate to everyone you meet in the interview process. And that starts with a smile. Keep the smile in the coffee line, on the elevator, at the reception desk. Smile at everyone you meet. Not one of those smiles that hurts your face, just one that warms your heart and brings a nice glow to your eyes. Next, you want to be prepared to offer a firm handshake in response to your interviewer who's extending a hand. If your faith practice prevents you from shaking hands, consider this alternative. Place your right hand on your heart and gently bow your head in greeting. State simply, "I'm very pleased to meet you." Remember to maintain eye contact, which is another great way to build rapport and trust. Now, it's the job of the interviewer to lead the interview, but it's your job as the candidate to follow that lead. If you're a talkative person and you like to lead the conversation, it can be really tempting to take control. That can happen when there's empty silence or when your interviewer hesitates. Let the temptation pass. Instead, just breathe deeply and wait for your interviewers to lead. Another important bonding agent in a relationship is gratitude. So before you start answering your first interview question, thank the interviewers for their time and consideration. Let's move on to task 3, which is to listen carefully to every question being asked. You want to listen for clues regarding the type of question the interviewer is asking. Do you need to assess one of your skills? Are you being asked for an example? Is it an opinion that your interviewer is looking for? Perhaps it's to speculate on a common scenario you might face in the job, or maybe it's to do a pro-con evaluation or engage in a role play to show how you would deal with a typical client interaction. And if you don't understand the question, ask for clarification. Once you're clear on the question, task 4 is to target your approach. This means don't start talking as soon as your interviewer has finished asking his question. Instead, give yourself permission to think a little bit, even if it means pausing for 5 or 10 seconds before you answer. In those few seconds, gather your thoughts on how you will approach the question, and target which of the many experiences or accomplishments might help you expand on your answer. Task 5 is to organize. Organize your answers and your questions. Begin your answers by first repeating or paraphrasing the question. This keeps you organized and focused. Then you can use a memory technique or an organization framework that helps you to expand on the details of your answer. One helpful organizing framework is the STAR technique for answering a behavioral question, or in other words, a question that asks you for an example. STAR is an acronym. Each letter introduces a new element of your story. S is for situation or context. T is for task or purpose or goal. A is for action, what did you do? And R is for result. What was the ending? Was it a happy ending or a not so happy ending? If you can master the STAR technique, your interview answer will be in the form of a well-organized story that's detailed yet easy to follow. You can learn more about organization and memory techniques if you attend our in-person workshop. And you can also view our curated videos that provide samples of strong answers. One final organization technique is to end your answers where possible with a conclusion that recaps the question being asked. This is in contrast to what sometimes happens is that we trail off with uncertainty or we stop our answer in mid-sentence and the interviewer isn't sure whether we're finished or not. Now, at some point in the interview, it will be your turn to take charge, and that is when the interviewer gives you the opportunity to ask your questions. That's great because you've prepared for this. Open your clipboard where you're going to see your list of 5 to 7 questions. And the first statement you're going to make is, yes, I do have a number of questions. How much time do we have? Once you know what time constraints your interviewer has, you can decide your priorities. Does it make sense to go through all of your questions, or instead do you need to focus on the 1 or 2 questions that are most important to you at this stage? As your interview draws to a close, you want to end on a note of enthusiasm. You want to be sure to thank your interviewer and let them know you enjoyed meeting them. Mention to them that you'd like to send a follow-up note and ask for a business card to make sure that you have the key contact information. And then finally, briefly express your interest in moving to a next step.